Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're coming in from the world.
Hi, Laura.
Hi, Laura. Nice to see you. You guys, over 1,000 people. Hi, Debbie C.
Hi, Lena.
Lena, what's up? Oh my gosh, that picture's scary, but I'm into it. Who is that?
That's Mike.
Mike? Oh my gosh.
Mike's going to come through with some really good puns. I know it already.
I love it. This class is packed, not only because we're with our buddies, Fulton Fish Market. We know you guys love their classes, but this recipe kicks butt, man. We are really excited about this one, especially for spring. Welcome. We're going to wait for everyone to kind of get settled in. We're waiting for a lot of people to log in. Again, we have over 1,000 people signed up, so that's awesome. So good to be here. I love jumping into the Homemade Kitchen. If we have never met before, I'm Joel. I'm the founder and CEO here at Homemade, and this is what I live for, man. This is what it's all about. Today we're making the most stunning seared scallops with a citrus olive relish. We thought this was perfect for Mother's Day, but I think it's perfect for any day. But it really is a little elevated. I know that scallops is not something that people normally cook. You know, when it comes to seafood, there's the big three. It's salmon, it's tuna, and I'm not even going to say the third. I just want to know if you know the third. Throw it in the chat. What is the third fish that is the most popular in America? But I can tell you it is not scallops. It's not scallops, and it should be, because scallops are amazing. What are people saying?
People are saying shrimp.
Shrimp is correct. Shrimp is correct.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought it was going to be something else.
Yeah, no, shrimp is right. All of which you can get at Fulton Fish Market. You guys know us. We are very particular about who we partner with in the kitchen, in our ingredients, in our equipment. And you guys know I'm a Northwest boy. I'm from Seattle, Washington, and I grew up with fish on the table 3-4 nights a week. I always tell this story that when I lived East Coast, and I've lived all over, I didn't realize how little people eat fish because I just had it so much just being here and having it at our fingertips. But now with technology and this amazing world that we live in, you can have the best fish in the world, Fulton Fish Market, literally delivered to your doorstep. And if you've never tried them before, we have this amazing promo where you get $50 off your first subscription. So we have our own landing page with them. You got to go check it out. It's fultonfishmarket.com/homemade. We'll be putting that in the chat throughout. Again, that promo is no joke, $50 off your first subscription, really worth it. And the idea is Fulton Fish Market has been around for literally almost 200 years. It might be over 200 years. They are by far our most seasoned brand that we work with. And they used to just be available to restaurants in New York. It's these group of fishmongers who are just curating the best seafood, the best fish, and it would only go to these amazing restaurants. But now, fast forward 200 years later, we get to have the same experience as home cooks. And so these are people who are not just choosing any salmon, any scallops, any mussels. They are choosing the best of the best and delivering it right to you incredibly fresh. And we're going to learn with scallops that is so important. I think people are really intimidated by scallops. I don't know why. They're so impressive and they're so easy. So they're just one of those really simple wins that we all got to lean into more. So we're going to talk about scallops, but first, if this is your first class here at Homemade, there's some basic housekeeping stuff. One, you can talk to me at any time as long as you share your screen and I can see you. You can raise your hand virtually and we'll call on you and you can talk out and ask me questions. There's also a lot of people here, so if it's a little bit not your thing to be in front of that many people, we have Chef Meg in the chat. Meg, what is up?
Hello. It's going to be a good one today.
I know. We both are stoked about this.
Yeah, and it's like simple, but just a perfect meal. Like anyone could make this. It's not going to heat up your kitchen too much, you know? It's
totally. It's fast. And again, I think elevated. Like if you're going to try to impress someone or just feel like something's just a little bit, you know, a notch above, I kind of think this is like the perfect Mother's Day meal, birthday meal, whatever you're celebrating. But I do think scallops should be something that goes on the regular rotation. I just think they're incredibly good for you, and B, they take less than 4 minutes to cook. So it's kind of a no-brainer. So let's talk about scallops. Let's talk about what happens when you go grocery shopping for them. Let's just go scallop 101, and then we're gonna get going. But the very first thing I want you to do, and this is when it comes to searing anything, is I want you to grab a pan, a skillet. We're using a non-stick, but you don't need to use non-stick. And I want you to put it on the heat on a medium low. I would say like a 3 or 4 out of 10. So if you're cooking along, put your skillet on the heat and just turn it on. And it's gonna just heat up. We're literally not even gonna cook in this in the next 20 minutes. But in order to get that ripping, gorgeous, even sear, we need to preheat our pan just like we preheat our oven. Now, speaking of preheating the oven, we're gonna roast up some asparagus. It's asparagus season, so this is a great time to head to your oven. If you're also cooking along, turn it to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. If you're watching in a Celsius place, I don't know if that is Celsius, Meg can look it up, but preheat your oven and get that going as well. All right, first of all, raise your hand, throw it in the chat. Who cooks with scallops? And if you do cook with scallops, how often in a month do you cook with scallops? I'm just curious. Let's do a quick little poll. How often in a month do you cook scallops? Not eat at a restaurant, cook them. I feel like we're gonna see a lot of zeros, but let me see. And be honest.
Some 0, some once. Seems like people do it maybe quarterly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
quarterly. I say we gotta up the ante a little bit. Like, I think we need to get, again, a little bit more regular with these. And hopefully today you walk away feeling like this is so much easier than even a lot of other seafood options, but definitely like more than a chicken or a pork. And again, way better for you. So first and foremost, when you go buy scallops, there are 2 types of scallops that you can buy. There are dry packed and there are wet packed. There's actually a third too, which is in shell. Really rare to go find scallops in shell, but if you can find them, obviously those are the freshest. But 99% of the time, unless you're on a dock, you're not gonna see that. So the dry and the wet is suspended in kind of seawater. It's, all scallops for the most part are frozen, and that's very normal. So to find frozen scallops, have them de-thawed, we'll talk about that. But the dry versus wet is a huge, huge debate. So number one, wet, in my mind, is below dry. Dry packed sea scallops is what you want to look for. So even if you're at the grocery store, you should be asking them, are they dry packed or are they wet packed? They will be very honest with you. At Fulton Fish Market, we are talking dry only. Like, that is it. Again, they are the top of the top, so they're going to store their scallops the way of the top of the top. So wet is the salt water, and what it does is not only does it waterlog the scallops, making it incredibly hard to sear, but it also plumps the scallops, making you pay more per pound, and reducing the flavor of the scallop. Because if you plump it with water, you're tasting water, not scallop. By dry packing it, right, which is not suspending it in water and just in a simple package, frozen, of course, the same, you're not getting the plumpness, which is not what you want. You're not getting that extra payment, and it's not messing with the texture of the scallop. So dry versus wet, dry every time. Cool? Everyone with me on that? Now, scallops are like a clam. They live in this shell like this, right? And they're the abductor muscle. They live right in here. You take it out of the shell, and that's what makes the shell go up and down. It's the muscle. And the way that it connects to the shell, I'm gonna take the biggest one here, these are stunning, is it has what's called a foot on it. And it's this little notch that comes on every scallop, and you know they're fresh if you see the foot. Now, if you don't see the foot, some places defoot them for you, which takes less than 5 seconds. You'll see how fast they are. But some places sell fake scallops. No joke. I heard of someone punching out halibut or cod with like a little ring mold, and they look like scallops, and they sell them at the price of scallops, but they don't have that little notch. So that notch to me shows freshness, it shows authenticity. So the way you get rid of this little foot which connects to the shell is you just kind of pull it off. And it just looks like this. You don't have to throw this away. This makes an amazing beurre blanc or seafood stock. So you can freeze these when you have enough of them. But I'll just show you another one. So you just kind of lift it up, you look for that little foot, and you just kind of peel it off. If you eat the foot, you're not gonna die. Nothing bad's gonna happen. It's just a little chewy. So you just wanna look and make sure they're all defooted. And these look amazing. Now, when I get them from Fulton Fish Market, typically they come frozen. The safest way to dethaw any fish, but especially scallops, is not by running cold water over it. It's not by putting it in the microwave. It's not by sticking it out on your counter. It's by taking it and putting it in the fridge overnight. Put it in the fridge overnight. You should have a nice slow dethaw, right? So literally take them out, fridge, wake up the next morning, they'll be ready to go. Now they'll still be really wet, right? Because they were frozen and there's a little bit of water crystals on there. That's very natural and extremely normal. So there's two tricks to kind of making sure they're as dry as possible, because for scallops, they're so small and cute that in order to get that really good sear, you gotta make sure they're incredibly dry. They cook so quickly. So the first Meg did beautifully, which is she took like a little cookie rack and she took the scallops out of their package and onto this cookie rack like this. That way any excess water can just kind of drop below, just like this. If you don't have a cookie rack, grab some like celery or like tinfoil and just make like little, make your own little makeshift rack, but just make sure they're elevated. The next is I grab paper towels and I just kind of pat them dry. And not with too much force, because again, scallops are sensitive. You know, this is why, you know, working with Fulton Fish Market matters so much to us. Scallops they're very delicate. And when you see them at the grocery store, a lot of the times they're mangled. They're kind of off to the side. When you buy them and they just, you know, the person behind the counter just reaches into a big pot of them, scrunches them with their fingers. You come home, you're like, why are like 12 of these just totally like inedible and not round? So treat them with respect the way that Fulton Fish Market does. They're choosing the best scallops possible. And so we want to do what we can to kind of keep them round and beautiful.
I just wanted to say, like with any seafood, you do want to, like, you don't want it sitting in water. That's like the enemy.
Yeah.
You don't want any moisture. You know, it's best to really dry it off and make sure it's not like sitting in its own water in the fridge too, because that's what's gonna like make it taste weird.
By the way, a lot of meats do this too. You'll like see like a chicken breast in water at the grocery store now, and it's steer clear. That's all I gotta say. Steer clear. So these scallops have been patted dry. They got taken out of their dry pack on their little rack. I'd put them back in the fridge for at least, if you can, a couple hours, because the fan in your fridge will really help dry them out. If you can't and you have to head to the grill or to the pan, that's cool too. But we're just gonna kind of put ours to the side right now. Actually, I'll leave them right here because we're gonna cook them up pretty soon. One thing that's really important is in any recipe, you don't want to salt them until we cook them. If we salt them right now, they're going to just let out all their moisture, which scallops are so juicy and delicious, and they'll dry out in the pan. So only salt them right before you cook them. And that goes with marinades. You can marinate scallops. Oh, they're so good. But think about what's going in the marinade. If salt is going in the marinade, if soy sauce is going in the marinade, if citrus is going in the marinade, all of that will change the texture of the scallop. So quick marinades and a quick salt. All right, I'm gonna let the scallops kind of just dry out. I do wanna call out one more thing. These are sea scallops. And if we get really close here, John, let's get close to these puppies. You can see how big they are. I mean, this is, again, Fulton Fish Market at its best. But they're like, some of these are the size of my fist. Go and try and find those at the store. You won't. These are sea scallops. The bay scallops are also awesome, but they're like marble size. They're really small. And a lot of them come from really close to us here in Oregon, but they're very sweet. They're delicious. I like to use the little baby ones, the little bay scallops for like salads or pastas, because they kind of thread through everything. The big ones I like to use with a knife and fork the way that we traditionally think of a scallop. All right, cool. So to recap, we talked a lot about scallops. That is scallop 101 and 102. That was a lot of information. We've got our pan preheating. We've got our oven preheating. We're now going to make a gorgeous relish. This is all done by hand. You don't need a machine. So quick. I've got a handful of green olives, which is by far, to me, my favorite olives. These are already pitted. I've got a little bit of capers. And right on the board, I'm just going to chop these up. And the right way to chop, you guys, is not like this. It's by putting your hand on the board, your knife underneath of it, and just rocking it through. I used to despise olives. I don't know if everyone who out there doesn't like them. I still can't do black olives like on pizza and stuff. Is there a black olive fan out there? I can't do black olives. I can't do it. But I then cooked a lot in France, and I was at this little farmer's market kind of street side thing, and it was like an olive vendor, and they had a very similar tapenade. Like a tapenade is like an olive spread, just in a big bowl. I remember it just sitting there like a bath, and I remember thinking, ugh, it's not my thing because I don't like olives. But they were free sample. They offered me a free sample on a gorgeous piece of bread, and I remember being a little hungry. So I took it, whatever, and it was so bright. It was so briny. It was just, it was so good. And ever since then, I'm like, okay, if it's the right olive, I will mess with it. And for me, I like green olives. I like the really shriveled I can never say it, Castrovilliano.
Castelvetrano?
Yeah, what she said, olive.
Yeah, I like, as a kid, I really loved black olives, and I feel like Castelvetrano are kind of similar in flavor, but they have a better texture.
Yes. They have
They're
a better
very
texture to me.
mild.
They're more mild, yes.
Yeah.
And I love a niçoise, I will say, a real true little baby niçoise olive. Amazing. All right, I've got 2 cloves of garlic. So I've chopped up my olives and capers. Garlic is going on, and I'm going to add a little bit of salt on top of the garlic. And that salt, just like we talked about with the scallop, is going to help take the moisture out of the garlic and break it down. So I'm just going to chop up the garlic as well. This already smells really good. And I'm just going to push that into the olives with the salt. Cool. Next to the party is some fresh herbs. We've got some parsley, but you can use thyme and tarragon and basil, whatever you got. And I'm just going to fold it on itself, stems and all. And I'm just going to chop that up. You guys know me, nothing goes to waste in this kitchen at Homemade. So we're going to chop up the stems and the leaves and push that in there. And then these 2 ingredients are crazy crucial. I talked about how bright and light and beautiful that tapenade I had in France was. I'm just going to zest 1 whole lemon and 1 whole orange. This is a citrus tapenade, and it is, you could smother this on chicken, just over the top of some vegetables. Oh my gosh, an artichokes would be amazing. But this is so good for you, so healthy, so many great fats, and I think so versatile. You could throw this on top of a pasta and just have this be the sauce. You could smear it on a sandwich with turkey. I mean, if you make enough of this tapenade, guys, you are golden. Golden. All right, so at this point, I've got the zest, the garlic, all the olives, and then I just get in there and give it a good couple more chops to really kind of combine it. And just do this all right on the board. This is what cooking in spring and summer is all about. It's about these fresh, gorgeous flavors. Fast cooking. You don't need to do much to it. You don't need to. Now, if you don't like chopping, put this in a food processor and call it a day. But I kind of like hand chopping it. I like to stop, look at the texture, and I don't know. I like a little texture. I like a little chew. Beautiful. All right, that's looking great. A good test to know it's kind of done is if you can take your knife, or I've got a little bench scraper, and just kind of spread it, and just make sure you see a little caper, a little orange zest, a little garlic kind of in every little bite there. So This looks crazy delicious. I'm just gonna gather it all up, add it to my bowl, and then you just gotta eye this next part. You could be done at this part, by the way, but I kind of like making it a little bit of a sauce if you want. But I just eye a little bit of really good olive oil. This just makes it kind of flowy, saucy. And again, it just kind of stretches it so you have it in the fridge. But really good olive oil. You could add a little chili flake in this if you wanted. But at this point, oh, look at this. I mean, gorgeous. So fast. That took me, what, 5 minutes? Let's give that a little taste. Yeah, that takes me right back. That is really good. You know what would be actually really good in that? I gotta call it out. Anchovy. I know a lot of people don't like it, but when you have good anchovies, oh, so good. By the way, we've been getting a lot of questions about Fulton Fish Market. Scallops is literally the tip of the iceberg there. Everything you'd ever want, from octopus to beautiful cod to salmon of all different types, they have you covered. And they've got these amazing subscriptions. You know, I say we got to eat more seafood in general for our health, for the planet. And so sometimes we forget that. So it's nice to have just a subscription show up to your doorstep and be like, oh, awesome, I totally forgot. And it's kind of like a little surprise. And whether you cook it that day or you put it in the freezer and cook it another day, it's just always nice to have on hand. So again, check out our page on fultonfishmarket.com/homemade. And I want to call it again, if it's your first order on a subscription, $50 off. Huge. All right, let's get our asparagus ready. Guys, for the asparagus, it couldn't be any more simple. What we got going here is fresh, beautiful asparagus, which right now they're fat and they're plump. Beautiful. And I just line them up like little soldiers. And everyone kind of like picks up an asparagus and clips it like this. But I always find it takes too much off. Like that is not, that's almost half the asparagus that just clicked off. So I just kind of eye it wherever it starts to turn white. So you see here, I'll hold this up really close. See where it turns white right here? That's where you want to cut off. This part is a little bit chewy, and we're only after the green. All right, so about right here. And don't throw these away. The bottoms of the asparagus, really flavorful. They taste just like asparagus. They're sweet. They're just fibrous, so they're hard to chew. So freeze these. You can make asparagus soup and blend them, or a stock for risotto. There's so much you can do with them. All right. On we go to this. Next batch, gorgeous. And then this is just the easiest little recipe of asparagus on the face of the planet. You just take your asparagus. I kind of lay it out on my sheet tray. Make sure there's lots of room. Everyone always asks me, how do you get crispy asparagus but not overcook it? It's all about how much room you have on your sheet tray. See how much room they have to breathe? If you try and stack them all on top of each other, they steam and they don't get crispy. So really spread them out. Even if one's kind of off to the side here, that is cool. Then a little bit of olive oil and a little bit of salt and pepper. How we doing in the chat, Miss Meg?
We're doing great, although we've identified a runaway olive.
Where?
In front of the salt.
There's
A little
only one.
chef's treat.
There's only one solve for this. Yeah. Thank you for the runaway olive. All right. If I was watching this, I don't know if you guys feel it, that would destroy me. I'd be sitting there the whole time being like, looking at that olive. I'm going heavy on the pepper. I want kind of a spicy asparagus. Toss these through. Oh yeah. And guys, asparagus does not need to be overcooked. Just a quick flash in the oven. Our oven is preheated. It's looking great. So I'm gonna pop these in for maybe like 3 minutes, 4 minutes or so. Meg, keep me honest on that. Don't let me forget about them.
All right, setting a timer.
All right. Any questions on the tapenade or on the asparagus? No? Quiet crew today? I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
You guys know I don't mind chatting.
Do you have any recommendations for this recipe if someone doesn't like asparagus?
If someone doesn't like asparagus, I mean, the world is your oyster, I should say, your scallop. But I would say a really crisp salad. So your favorite salad would be great with this. I probably wouldn't do a creamy dressing salad, but like a vinaigrette salad would be great. Honestly, anything. Polenta would be really nice. Everyone thinks like shrimp and grits or shrimp and polenta. I think scallops are even better with polenta. To me, scallops is, I'll go with it's a top 3 fish for me, like seafood that I like to cook. I love me some tuna. I'm just huge. I'm not a canned tuna guy, like a fresh tuna. So it's like a fresh tuna. I can't go against salmon because it's my lifeblood. And I'd say maybe a tie between halibut and scallops. Scallops to me are my mom's favorite. They represent so many good times, and I love them. So let's get to it. So at this point, my pan is ripping hot. Like I can put my hand here and hold it for maybe 4 seconds before it gets a little hot. So that means it's really evenly heated, it's beautiful, and it's ready to sear. The scallops themselves look impeccable. When they came out of the package, we were all like oohing and ahhing. We always do when we get a Fulton Fish Market package. That's what you do. They're like little presents when you get them at your doorstep. That's what I've noticed. It's very exciting. And so from up high, this is really important with scallops, because they're so delicate in flavor, you really want to salt them evenly. So I grab a nice pinch of kosher salt, and from up high, I sprinkle so that the salt really evenly distributes all over those scallops. And I do the same thing with the black pepper. So the black pepper kind of rains on an even coating. Cool? And I do one side, because you can always do the next side, and I don't want to kind of cross-contaminate my finger and all that stuff. So, next up is the sear. And everyone's like, do you use butter? Do you use oil? You're gonna sear in oil, okay? A nice neutral oil. You can use a light vegetable or a light olive oil, but I like more vegetable oil or avocado oil, even coconut oil. High smoke point, neutral flavor, because I want to taste the scallop. So we're not using butter yet. Butter's coming. But right now in the sear, we're going all neutral oil. Question? We good? Awesome. So I'm going to go in with a couple of tablespoons of oil. Now, some chefs have the audacity, have the gall, I don't know what they want to say it, has the chutzpah to sprinkle sugar on top of their scallops so they caramelize even more. If I see that over at your house, I will fly through this camera, rip the scallop out, and save it from your grasps. Never do that. If you have gorgeous scallops like the ones you get from Fulton Fish Market, you do never, ever, ever need to add sugar to it to get the sear. These should be naturally sweet and caramelize on their own. So I'm going to start at the top of the pan at 12 o'clock, and I'm going to just kind of run the scallop in and just place it, and then go around the clock, salt and pepper side down, and just kind of place these puppies in. Now again, they're delicate. If one kind of breaks, that's okay. That will be a chef snack. But for the most part, these are looking gorgeous. And I'm just going around the clock. We go around the clock so we know what are the first scallops we put in, so that we know which are the first scallops we should check out. So I'm going to let those sear. I'm going to wash my hands since I just touched those puppies. And this is the moment. This is the moment where your scallop can go from unbelievably good to like, it's a scallop. So the key is don't mess with it. Don't mess with this. I say this to men a lot because guys like to poke at things. I don't know, it's like a button for us. Don't move them. Don't shake the pan. Don't grab a spatula and start futzing with it. None of that. Let them sear. Let them be. All right? So I'm going to let them do their thing. While they're doing their thing, I'm going to season the other side. Again, from up high. Beautiful. Black pepper. Now, we're going to let these cook for about 4 minutes. And they're all usually around the same size. Even a really thick scallop, it's about 4 minutes. The first side of the scallop is going to take longer. So it's really like everyone always goes about 2 minutes per side. Wrong. That is wrong. It is about 3 minutes for the first side and about 1 minute for the second side. And that is how you don't overcook your scallop, okay? The reason why is your first side is cold. It just came out of the fridge. So it's like putting ice cubes in the pan. The whole pan lowers in temperature, and the pan needs to kind of reheat back up. By the time you flip it to the other side, it's hot, it's ready to go. So the second side gets a nice, more evenly heated treatment. Does that make sense to everybody, hopefully? Check the asparagus. All right. Meg reminded me to check the asparagus. While I'm doing that, I'm cutting the lemon in half. This is a little extra, and I'm searing it next to my scallops. All right. Let's see what we got. Yes. Gorgeous. This is it. This is all you need. 3-4 minutes tops. They're just super plump and beautiful. They're hot. But what I want to show you is this is the trick. If you hold up a piece of asparagus and it limps over, you overcooked it. But you see how I hold this up and it's just this nice straight line? That is a crunchy, well-cooked piece of asparagus. Even the little one holds its nice line. Anything that goes like whoop, no bueno. All right? So we'll put those to the side. Let those cool for just a bit. And I think it's time for some scallop love. Now, when it comes to flipping these, a lot of people use tongs. I've said this already a million times. These guys are delicate. Tongs, they're not delicate. They're really rough. So it's nice to use something like a fish spatula or even like a little fork. I'll show you how to do it with a fork to flip these guys. All right? Notice how I haven't been messing with them, right? Aren't you guys proud of me? We've been doing a lot of other stuff, but not messing with the scallop. So I just want to check that first one at 12 o'clock. I put my finger on the cold side of the scallop, and I flip it away from me. Oh, look at that. So let's do it again. Flip it away. Now, I want this even just a little bit hotter. There we go. So I like these crusts. We're getting a really nice golden brown. I want it even more. So what I'm going to do is flip them back. These are our little testers. They're close. I think they need another 30 seconds or so. So I turned up my heat to about a 9. Oop. Now my heat's freaking out. Let's get back to it. This is why I love us some homemade. We're live, people. This is how it goes, even when our heat cuts out. There we go. There we go. All right, so blast that heat. And be patient with it. This is not a good time to do anything else but hang out next to these scallops. These are great. Oh, yeah. All right, so it's a big pan. So we put the first ones on top, but what I'm seeing immediately is that the bottom ones are getting more heat, which is fine. I'm just seeing more caramelization. So you can take your fork and start flipping these. And they're really easy. Again, finger on the cold side, flip it over. Notice how evenly caramelized these are, right? These are not sugar-coated.
But they smell so sweet.
They're like candy.
They smell so nice, yeah.
I really think that like scallops are the candy of the ocean. Like they're just so sweet. They're incredible. Last one. Beautiful. I'll take out our lemons. Look at our lemons, by the way. I love that. Just a nice little charred lemon there. Let me hold that up closer to camera for John. That's beautiful. When you grill up lemons like that, they give this really jammy vibe that I love. All right, at this point, the scallops are searing on the other side, and it's only about 1 minute, right? So it's really quick. So this is the time where I want you to add a little bit of butter. We're going to add about a tablespoon or two. And I'm going to go with a little more. Why not? You're not going to really eat this butter. It's just going to kind of help flavor it. At this point, you can turn off the heat. So once you flip them, you almost can turn off the heat and just kind of tip the butter towards you and baste the scallops with butter. You will not eat all this butter. You don't even need to do this step. This is just making it a little bit lavish, a little gorgeous. But it really gives the scallop just a kiss of richness, which is nice. So it's like a little bit of a brown butter, just basting, like a little bath. It's perfect. And at this point, you can use tongs because they're cooked, so they're kind of firm to the touch. And what I like to do, because they've been sitting in butter and oil, is I like to grab a little bit of a towel and just kind of grab the sides of them and just place them right on top of the towel. Look at these. Oh. Are those not beautiful?
They look perfect.
Yeah.
We've got a question from Debbie. Let's
Hey,
hear
Debbie.
it. I'm gonna unmute you. All right.
Hey there. Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's going on, buddy?
Not much. I'm just watching you cook these delicious scallops.
Oh.
My hubster sometimes likes to put molasses on them. If you were to do that, how much molasses would you actually put?
Okay, so molasses, like he puts it on the scallop before he cooks them, or like in the pan while it's cooking? When does he add it?
As they're cooking.
As they're cooking. I would go with maybe a tablespoon at the most. And I think at that point
Okay.
you're making some sort of glaze or sauce for them, which is actually sounds pretty awesome. But I wouldn't put it on before, like we talked about the sugar thing. So if it's kind of a glaze or a sauce, that's great. That's the recipe. But I wouldn't add it before. So maybe a tablespoon at most because they're already so sweet. They don't need much.
All right, thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, good question. So guys, I just want to hold these up really close so you guys can see. Look how gorgeous. This is what happens, dry packed, not messing with them, beautifully seared scallops. They're gorgeous. So what we're going to do now, easiest thing in the world, is grab a little platter, grab some of that asparagus, and just kind of all in one direction. And I don't like things too fussy. You guys know me. But, you know, try and make this look somewhat nice. But stack up that asparagus in one direction. This is beautiful.
Chef Joel, how do you know when the scallops are fully cooked or undercooked? People are wondering.
That's a great question. Thank you. Let me pause on this asparagus project for a sec. So asparagus to the side. How do you know that these scallops are cooked, not overcooked, not undercooked? So why don't I take the biggest one here so you guys can see a good example. So if you take your hand and make a fist and you hold it really tight, that is too tight. So don't make a fist like you're going to punch someone. Make a loose fist, okay? When you feel inside this fist, right in here, so right here's kind of where your thumb is, kind of right in here, this is a raw, undercooked scallop, meaning when I touch the scallop, it will feel the exact same as this. So this is undercooked, raw. If you go up towards the top of your hand, just about half an inch, that is perfectly cooked scallop right here. So if I feel this, which this is what this feels like, it's got some spring to it, it's a little bit firmer. So undercooked here, cooked well here, and then a little bit farther is overcooked, where it's almost like a rubber band. And I do the exact same test with shrimp. In fact, I do it with chicken. So there's a lot of options there, but that is a really simple test of how to deal with it. Now let's cut into one. When you cut into one, and I don't know if the camera can show this, it's tight, but it's not dry at all. When you squeeze it, you see white kind of juice, the sweet nectar of the scallop come out. It's almost pearly the way it looks, how white it looks. It's translucent, but it's white all the way through. And that is how you know it's a great scallop, right? You shouldn't be able to, it shouldn't be too chewy. It should be kind of melt in your mouth. Yeah, these are a 10. Oh my gosh. Those are so good. Oh my gosh. Scallops are such a treat. They're such a treat. All right. So now what I'm going to do, on top of my asparagus, I'm going to do a double whammy here. Hopefully you guys can see this on the screen okay. But I'm going to grab a little bit of this tapenade and just kind of drizzle a little bit over the asparagus. And honestly, this is a beautiful side dish just as is. But then you take these Fulton Fish Market caramelized, perfect, beautiful scallops, and you just start to kind of dot these around anywhere you see a little opening. Oh, these are so plump and juicy. Okay, those are chef's snacks. We're overdoing it. I'll take a little bit of these, my lemon, and kind of push it off to the side here. And then I grab a little bit more of that tapenade, and I just kind of go over the top. I don't want to go too much over the top of scallops because we worked pretty hard to get crispy scallops. So let that work kind of show for you. And I want to make sure I can kind of hold this up. Look at that. I mean, these are stunners. Can we do a top down real quick? Look at that. You serve that on a spring table. I mean, I don't care if it's a normal weekday night, if it's a special occasion, everyone is going to be so thrilled. That is such a treat. All right, I'm going to let that cool for 5 seconds. I'm going to grab a little bit of parsley. I want to call out again. I know seafood intimidates people. Everything from it makes my house smell terrible to I'm going to overcook it and screw it up. Fulton Fish Market takes the worry out of it. Those things happen when you have really poor quality seafood. When you have the best seafood, there is no smell. When you have the best seafood, it's hard to mess it up. The fat content, you can undercook it, it's still delicious. So it won't come mangled, it will come prime and beautiful. Don't take the stress out of going to pick out fresh stuff. Ooh, is that Lena's? Who cooked with us, Lena?
Oh yeah, that's Lena.
Lena!
A little bit of,
Gorgeous.
spin on the, another.
I love it. I just think
shrimp
there's a
and
lot
salmon?
of guesswork and there's a lot of intimidation with fish and seafood. So you should partner up and let that partner be someone who's been doing it for 200 years. That's my thought. All right, a little bit of parsley over the top of this. And ladies and gentlemen, that's all she wrote. I think the springiest, happiest, most lush scallop dish of this year has just hit the plate. We got to try some. We got to get in there. All right, I'm going after the biggest one. I did the work. I get the nicest scallop. That's beautiful. Oh, cutting in, grabbing a little bit of that gorgeous tapenade. Some of that crisp asparagus. The asparagus is not overcooked. No way. No way. A little bit of that jammy lemon that you kind of seared off. You guys, it's such a simple dish. I mean, if I wasn't yapping away at you guys for the past 45 minutes, this would probably take about 20, 30 minutes tops. It looks like you could charge $65 for it. It tastes like heaven on earth. It's incredibly healthy. Oh my. Okay. I think that's my favorite thing we've cooked all year. I don't say that very often. Yeah, Meg just stopped.
Someone else was saying this has been their favorite dish.
Really?
Yeah.
It's incredible. Like, it just works. It's briny. It's crunchy from that asparagus. The scallops are just sweet and just plump and gorgeous. It's unbelievable. It's a 10 out of 10. I really hope you make this dish, whether it's for Mother's Day or just for yourself. Wow. But I said this once, and I'm going to say it again and again. More important than making this dish is I want you to cook more fish and seafood. I want you to do it for your body. I want you to do it for the earth. I want you to do it for the convenience of it. It will change the game, right? And when you get the best, Fulton Fish Market, it takes the guesswork out of it. They have incredible resources. Go to their website. Check out the subscription. Again, if you've never subscribed to them, $50 off your first. I mean, that's like dinner on the house. That's amazing. So sign up for that. You will absolutely love it. We want to thank Fulton Fish Market. We love you guys. And we want to thank all the 1,000+ people who tuned in to watch this. I really hope you find a lot of joy out of this one. Coming up, our next class is, I can't even pronounce that. Classic Brigadeiros?
Yeah,
Did I
that's
just
right.
nail that?
That's right.
Brigadeiros. I'm excited. I am not teaching that class. Thank the Lord. I've never made that before. But then on Thursday, speaking of one of our top 3 favorite seafoods and fish, we're making a green curry salmon, kind of like a Thai style with lemongrass rice. So that's coming up next week. Classic Brigadeiros and a green curry salmon with lemongrass rice. It's going to be amazing. Anything else from you, Miss Meg?
I just want to say Happy Mother's Day to all of our mothers in the
Yes.
chat.
That is so. Thank you for saying that. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. You are how the world goes round. Let's just call a spade. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Cheers. Asparagus cheers.